people can join in. So I made a video 2 days ago on Sunday, and so far everything is going according to plan. There's not much to update outside of what is going to happen tomorrow during the FOMC and I guess CPI. So in terms of Bitcoin, um, and I covered this again in my video, we had a swing failure pattern. Okay, so Bitcoin took out the highs, closed below, which was bearish. Um, these range highs here are still acting as resistance. It's getting weaker and weaker with each touch, but it's still proven to be very, very strong. Okay, and we are still range bound because this is our range highs, here is our mid range, and here's our range lows. And I mentioned in my video, I think it's still here. Okay, when we are in a range, this is how you play it. Okay, um, so for a range to form, you need the highs to form, and then you have the bottom, which is your support, and then you play it as such. So every time we come and bounce from support, it's going to be along with your stop somewhere below, a wick or support line. And every time we go to range highs, you're going to short it until it gives, and eventually you're going to be stopped out. Okay, it happens, but you can make the most out of it by just shorting the top and longing range lows. Now, whenever we are at the top, you don't want to long anything until we break out and retest. Okay, we did not do that with Bitcoin. I'll go back to the chart. Okay, this wick here, yes, we broke out, but we did not close above this resistance and retest and hold. These are why breakout traders have the worst R&R, and they usually are not successful. For people that were in here, you guys know Jason. Jason's not successful. He's a breakout trader. But in terms of waiting at range highs, you want to set limits at mid-range. Usually when we are at range lows, okay, you want to short mid-range. When we break above mid-range and we flip it to support, there's usually going to be some type of demand zone that's formed. All right, so like we break out, right, there's demand zone formed before we go up. You have your demand zone here. So when we are at range highs, this is a great area to bid. However, when we are consolidating at range, at mid-range, you do not want to take any trade. I know not taking trades is hard for most people, but sometimes you have to be okay with sitting on your hands and waiting for, opportunities to present themselves to you at your levels. You never want to trade anything when it's trading at mid-range because it's risky and usually undecided, okay? And I'll give an example of that, just like I did in my video. This is what happened here in Bitcoin, okay? We were at range highs, we took the highs, SFP'd, got a nice move down, back to mid-range, and it was using a daily chart. We had a daily demand zone here, perfect bounce from the mid-range level. Actually, we caught the Pico bottom, and then we had currently what, like a almost 2% move up? Yeah, almost 2% move up, okay? Now, if we blow below this mid-range level and we turn it into resistance, the next logical point to bid is going to be range lows. If we turn this into resistance, as I mentioned, we're in this scenario. You do not want to take any trades. You want to be patient until either we reclaim mid-range and turn it into support. Then you could short range highs again, take a long scalp with your stops below whatever wick that was created, or you set your limits at range lows and you wait patiently. Okay, if you are trying to trade, basically, in this area here, if you're trying to trade this area here, you will lose. Okay, there's no confirmation to do so. this area. There's no confirmation. It's just, very low confluence. The most liquidity is down here. This was already grabbed. There's still a little bit more demand zone liquidity to be grabbed here. But if you're trying to long at this current state, like at the current price, you're already too late. Okay. So if you're not in any plays, just sit on your hands and you have to wait until a range develops on a lower time frame. This is the daily range that already played out, but we have FOMC tomorrow and we have CPI. Now, if the daily closes like this, we have a swing failure pattern. All right, we have taken out the lows. Here is your last low. You have this low here. As long as we close above this level here, in my opinion, we should continue to grind higher. Where do we grind to? And if CPI is bullish, most likely, I want to keep this chart as my high time frame chart. Okay, so we've taken the lows, equal bounce. We will most likely go into this daily order block. So around 68.8K to 69K, we will be met with some resistance. Okay, so we will probably do something like this. It's going to be a little choppy, right? And then we'll have boom. And then if we can flip this into support, yes, we will go higher. We have another daily order block here. If we do reach these highs again, I do probably expect us to break it this time. Okay, but we have not yet broken the trend. Okay, so the trend is still bullish. We are making, right, higher highs, higher lows. This can easily go up here and make another higher high. Okay, this is our last higher low. So until we break below that low and turn into resistance, we have not broken market structure. But even if we come down here, we could still be putting in another higher low on this impulse, right? So there are many impulses that we can take on market structure. Here's one currently. We can come down here. We can say that this is a lower high. We can come and put in a lower low, right? Still, if we put in a lower low here, it'll be a higher low on this impulse, and then we can continue to grind higher. In my opinion, we are bullish as long as we hold this level here. Okay, we can come down to 39 or 40K, put in a double bottom, and then continue to go higher still. As long as we don't lose this level, we are bullish. This is on a macro time frame, right? So make sure you guys zoom out and you're not looking at 2-minute charts. So with Bitcoin, if you're not in anything, it's already too late. Just sit on your hands and you have to wait until the news comes out tomorrow. All right. In terms of ETH, this is something that I posted on my channel regarding bids and liquidity. Let me go to a different chart. Okay. So as I mentioned, not only in my videos, but in my channel, I made it clear that post ETF, we were going to have a dump, just like Bitcoin did, right? Post ETF in January, when Bitcoin got approved, right, we had a dump of about 20%. Okay. ETH, on the other hand, is currently at 13%. I'm not saying fractals are going to follow exactly, but for the moon boys that we're like, oh, this is bullish, this is bullish. We failed to break these highs here. Okay, here's resistance. I can zoom out, clear resistance. Right? Rejection, rejection. We broke above, we flipped it to support, got some bounces, and then rejection and rejection. All right? We are not bullish until this level is flipped to support. Okay? On a lower time frame, we went and grabbed, sorry, one sec, my dog's going crazy. We went down and grabbed all this liquidity. However, we have a fair value gap here. Let's make this the color of piss. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if this previous support here that we lost and turned into resistance gets retested. We might not go back down to this order block down here. Okay, but I wouldn't be surprised to come here, continue higher, reject, right? Put in another higher low, and then grind higher. So if you're not in ETH right now, and you want to add to your position, and I'm speaking from a spot perspective, entries in this fair value gap all the way down here to 32.80ish is a good buy point. Okay, we do not want to lose this level here. This is our no, like if we lose this, okay, and by losing it I mean breaking below, consolidating, turning into resistance, and going down, then we have broken market structure and we are going or starting a new trend to the downside. We will go up and put in a lower high and make new lower lows. Okay, so I think this area holds. If we get a wick down below 3K, great, but this is where we want to hold currently. Okay, so if you're not in ETH, entry here down to this 280 point is a great area to add. Okay, for us to continue to the upside, we need to reclaim this level here. Right, we had a range here that we broke out. We need to reclaim this level of resistance, so around 36.30 to go higher. Until then, expect lower. I'm expecting tomorrow to be, semi-bullish. Maybe we could be bullish if CPI and FOMC does come out in the favor of risk on assets. Then I do expect us to, or I do expect Bitcoin to go to 69K, 68.8 to 69K, and ETH to at least go to back to 3,600. So that's why I'm saying, you're never going to catch the bottom. If you DCA all the way down to there, you should be okay. Yes, spot play. The shittiest coin of all, Sol. Okay. So I mentioned in my video that we would see Sol back here at this order block. Actually, do I have that chart still? Yeah, there we go. We bounced right from it. I want us to reclaim this trend line here. Closing below, we could possibly see a bearish retest point. And then, right now, Sol looks pretty gross. We need to hold this golden pocket. So basically, 141 to 140 is a must hold level for Sol. But holding it should send us up. Obviously, this is a Bitcoin market right now. Focus is not on alts or anything. It's just on Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance, right? Super ultra bullish. I eventually expect Bitcoin dominance to go to 58k, or sorry, 58%. So it's going to be a pretty tough time for alts. And I think that this chop lasts throughout the summer. So we will get 2 more months of chop. Um, Volatility in last bull market was also this low. So don't be frustrated and don't be surprised if, alts are taking a beating during the summer while either Bitcoin slowly grinds up or actually does plummet back down. If we take a look at a different viewpoint here on Bitcoin, one sec. I'm trying to see. One sec. I had this charted on my exchange on my phone. One sec. I don't have any exchanges logged in. I'm a phone trader. I don't know how people trade on their desktop. Okay. This is what I had for Bitcoin. Okay. All right. So I wouldn't be surprised if during the next 2 months we do something like this. And then just go to the apex before we have a move to 88k. All right. Because if we take, for those Elliott wave people, if you have your impulse, right? Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then you have a corrective wave. Here's your 1 impulse, here's your 2, and here's your 3 down to C. So I think we can go down to 63.5 to 62.5. As long as we are able to maintain this range low level, we are okay. So that's what I think is going to happen for the next 2 months. It's just chop, chop, chop. People can get liquidated. Retail would not be enticed to come in. And then all of a sudden, we have a huge move to the upside. Bitcoin consolidates once we break out from the all-time highs. And for now, it's a Bitcoin market. So focus will be on Bitcoin. No one cares about the altcoins. Eventually, dominance will hit 58% or close to 58%, reject from there, have a move to the downside, and alts run. Now, everyone's like, what about alt season? What about alt season? Most of the alts are up about, major alts, about 5 to 6% from their lows. Okay, alt season will be the last month or two of exit liquidity before the cycle ends. So yes, you will have the move up, but when we're talking about alt season and seeing, in a single day, 30, 40% gains over the course of a week, that won't happen until the last stage of the cycle, which I expect to be no later than Q2 of next year. It could be Q1, and then cycle, in my opinion, ends. Cycle ends when we have a break of structure, meaning we put in, right, here's the higher high, and then we just put in lower lows, lower highs, and then we break structure. So that's when you know that the cycle top is usually in, when we have a break of structure, and that's when I disappear for good. But for now, focus. If we get dips on alts, start to layer your bids in, slowly DCA, and then this is a Bitcoin market right now. Until Bitcoin consolidates, Bitcoin dominance comes down, focus should be just on Bitcoin and the majors, in my opinion. Okay. Back to Sol. As I mentioned, this level here needs to hold. Okay. Close above, or close in this demand zone. Look for a bearish retest point. If we do have a bearish retest, we also do have supply here. If we do have a bearish retest point, which would coincide with here, this would be your short setup. Okay. And it would be a long, or it would be a short hedge if you guys are long from here. I closed my spot position out yesterday. Most of my spot positions were closed yesterday except for 4 on my short-term account, not my long-term. I still have my long-term spot accounts from much lower. I'm not closing those. But if we get to here, expect rejection, and then hopefully it puts in another lower high and then continues down. I would love for this to go eventually to 125 and lower. Okay, so again, it's a patient, it's a sit on your hands, patient type of market currently. Right. I only trade on mobile. Yep, I don't trade PC at all. I'm always on the go, so I don't have time to open up a PC. Do you plan to DC on Injective, or did you close it as well? No, the only positions I have open currently on my short-term spot account are Injective, Dogecoin, Say, and ETH. I don't plan to DCA. I will cut if it closes below $23 on the daily. Let me show Injective. Okay. So DCA perfectly filled. I have an average of 28.173. Holding structure so far. Holding the uptrend so far. But if we close below this range, low level basically. Okay. Close below here, right? I will cut and I will re-enter. I mean, I'm done with this coin. If we close below this coin, I'm done. Okay, fuck this coin. But I will cut it if we close below here. Can you chart Rio? Sure. One sec. Rio was a coin I gave to my students. I'm trying to find which chart I had it. Okay. These were the buy levels for Rio that I gave. They're still valid. From our entry, we had a 50% move up. I did close a good chunk. But these are the buy levels for Rio currently. Let me remove this golden, or these fibs. They're no longer valid. Okay. So if you're looking to get into Rio, these would be your entries. Okay, so $1.43. This DC already hit, already grabbed the liquidity. So the new entry point would be here now. 131319, and then 113 And then if we get a deeper move down, 76 cents. Okay. There's one very strong coin. Is Penile in here? Just E is in here. My phone accidentally corrected Pepe to Penile. But this coin is strong right now. Okay. This could be setting up what it's doing here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this goes just a little bit lower. So this demand zone here. Because if I were to draw a trend, right, it's hovering just on it. We are making still higher highs, higher lows. We could come back down here, take this liquidity, right, grind up. At that point, this would be a supply zone. It's not currently, but you want to be careful when it does something like this, because this could either be, accumulation before the leg up, or it could be distribution. Like, you see how it like starts to accumulate here, then distribute, and then accumulate, and then distribute. So if this is doing exactly that, although this daily candle is pretty bullish, right? If this is doing something like this, you want to either bid in this zone here, right, for new highs, or wait for the breakout, retest, reject probably over here, right, and then add more to your position over here, and then target new highs. Okay, but right now, again, this is a patient game. This coin's very strong, so any pullback you get on this, I think it's going to have a nice move. It's up already 12% from the lows. But this is a pretty volatile coin. Take this on spot, in my opinion. I'll put that there. Let me share the Bitcoin. My full Bitcoin plan is in my channel and also on my YouTube, but I'll put these charts still up there since I discussed it. Fucking stupid. BTC, ETH. You can watch the recording. It'll be up on YouTube afterwards. And last but not least, Shitcoin Soul. Okay, BNB. Yeah, I also discussed this in my YouTube video as well. Okay. Bounced perfectly from the level. So, we got, when I first discussed this, I was looking at this scalp that I made on the video. Filled perfectly to the dot, got a 2% move up. And then I mentioned, once that is good, you're going to have right? You have this weekly slash 3-day demand zone, okay? And you also have this weekly order block. If we do get back up to here, it's a short because it's previous range highs. We took out the highs, we closed below, put in a swing failure pattern. Weekly opened, you got a nice 11% move down. Now we bounce perfectly from the weekly OB, okay? And currently we have a 2% move up. This area, this demand zone here I'm gonna remove this. This demand zone here in gray needs to hold. Okay. Because if it doesn't, yes, you have liquidity grabs over here, these wicks over here, we could go down there, but the next logical bounce point, like in terms of actual TA and not wicks, is these highs. Okay. So this demand zone needs to hold to go higher, but if we do get to the highs again, it's most likely a short with your stops above the wick. I expect this coin to do well once Bitcoin turns around, but for now, this demand zone here needs to hold. Maybe if we get a deeper move down, this could be your entry point. 3-day order block. Stops below the wick. Target the highs again. And then you flip short. Don't flip short. You hedge short at the highs. Ape is a shitcoin. It's most likely going to go to 0. I'll explain why. So it's going to all-time lows. So again, it's in a range, right? Here is your range lows, most likely going there too. Lose that, then there's no bottom. But this is, a giant bear flag. Target for this is probably negative 50. But within this, right, this just looks disgusting. This probably goes to range lows, 97, 99 cents. If you want to buy there, you have easy invalidation. I would buy on spot because placing a stop loss is hard since there's no data. So buy spot, close below and turn it into resistance. Then you cut it. But there's no hope for this coin. Even in the bull run, this coin will not do well. Like, this is a old dyno made by idiots with, monkeys as their PFPs, profile pictures. Another shitty project by a shitty community. No, you don't short here. It's near range lows. Do you genuinely believe Sol will fumble? If so, why? Have you heard it's a shitcoin? I think, to be honest, I think every coin's a shitcoin. I think the Sol community is the most toxic community on all of CT. To be honest, like, I have been approached by many projects to promote their shit, and the first thing I do is in their DMs, I can show you the DMs. I'm not going to because some of the people are actually in this Discord. I just shit on them completely. But they're cocky, they're annoying, they're racist. Like, honestly, like, if it wasn't for the cheap fees and the technology, I mean, in my opinion, ETH is 100 times better. I don't care about the fees. ETH is 100 times better than Sol. The only reason why Sol is around is because of the cheap fees. The community is trash. The coin isn't that great, to be honest. Um, but yeah, I do think Sol eventually will go to all-time highs. It's an easy 2x play, 3x play, but their community is like trash. Yeah, Sol I don't give a shit about. Um, yeah, I do like L2s, for sure. ETH is by far the best chain. Sorry, Bitcoin was the biggest recap. You'll have to watch in the video. Um, Floki. Oh, what the fuck? All right, let's take a look at this on a clean nude chart. All right, so Floki. Right, here's your demand zone. It touched the top of it. This demand zone needs to hold, otherwise we have a market structure break, right? If you're talking about, right, okay, lose this, turn into resistance, then you have a move to the downside. If we were to draw, that is for sure a short point. So, if you're taking a long, this would be your setup. And your TPs would come here, here, and up there. If you see resistance like that, always front run it a little bit. Okay. So, if this is your long area, stops below, and then those are your TPs. Now, this is a short area. Back down to there. Now, again, this is a Bitcoin market, okay? So alts are pretty weak. If we actually close like this on the 4-hour, which closes in 20 minutes, we have put in a swing failure pattern. We did grab the liquidity, close above. So this could be possibly a good long attempt, but as mentioned, if you're going to go into alts, go in with reduced position and low leverage, okay? Because, yeah, we saw what alts did on just a 2K drop from Bitcoin. Bitcoin long going well, though. DYDX. Yikes. This is probably putting in some type of divergence. I don't use indicators whatsoever, but Yeah, there's probably some type of divergence here. Let's get rid of this garbage. We are also in support. This is a must-hold area. We've had so many touches of here. Honestly, I'd probably, if you're gonna bid, that's too wide of a stop. I mean, right, this would be a spot play. It's a 17% stop. Something like that. Lose this demand zone here, this order block, then you're bidding range lows. But looks disgusting. What do you think will happen tomorrow with news coming out in your opinion? I think we're going to be bullish, but cautiously. I think we have a nice pump. And I think Bitcoin goes to 68.8K. Not immediately on that day, but over the course of this week, possibly into the weekend. PYR. PYR had a nice little exit pump. See, perfectly into that supply zone. If I could short this coin, that's where I would have shorted. But again, back to this range here, right? Range lows, highs, bounced again from lows, bounced again from lows, rejected from highs, went up, fell back below, back into the range. It was an easy short there. You can't short this coin, but again, back to range lows possibly. Right, you're gonna buy the bottom, and then probably manual stops if we close below and turn into resistance. Right, because after that, lows there. Order block here. So if you're looking to buy, I buy range lows, and then possibly target mid-range. Okay. Then highs, and then hopefully you get a nice, like, what is that, like 10%, 20% move. Lose that, then you're buying the monthly order block down to range lows. I'm still holding this coin. My average is around like $2.80. I didn't sell a good amount over there. So I'll post this as well. Ando is my biggest conviction coin. I gave this one to my students around 22 cents. I gave it to everyone here around this region here. Whoops. So when I gave everyone like a nice 70% pump. Now I mentioned in my video that an area to bid if you're playing this leverage was this order block here. Filled perfectly, got a nice almost 7% move from it. Now, everyone was going to short this area because, right, they're like, oh, head and shoulders, right? So they short here and they got wrecked. Now, if this area ends up being lost, okay, the area to bid is going to be this red area here between 104 or 105 down to 97. Whole bunch of liquidity here that has not been retested. It was previous all-time highs that was retested there, but there's still a lot of demand, which would also coincide with another higher low being put in place, another trendline touch, and if you were to take fibs from these lows to these highs, it lines up with the golden pocket as well. Okay, so I'm not certain we get a move down that low. Okay, I still am very much invested in this coin from down here, but if you are able to get this area, that's where you're going to bid. If you want to start a starter position, this would probably be a good area to start. It's down. It was down 20% from its highs. It's currently down 16. Not saying it won't go any bit lower, but I would start DCAing if you wanted to here. Then your next bids would be here, and it's also a demand zone. So this is your buy zone between 105 to 97. I have a 10-minute explanation on this in more detail in that video that I posted on Sunday. Yes, this is my highest conviction coin for the bull market. Number 2 is Vanry. I gave that coin when it was TVK at 4 cents. But in terms of trading, like leverage, the coin that has been the best to trade, in my opinion, in terms of volatility, let's go Bitcoin, has been Ando for sure, and Sol. Sol has been pretty volatile, and it's just nice to hit the short button and send it to all my Sol friends. Yeah, Vanry was a 10x when I first gave it. Let me see. Yeah, we entered at, well, it was TVK. TVK was much lower before it did the change. And then it was my biggest play outside of Floki this year. It was a nice coin. Another coin I want to reposition myself into is Ordi. Okay, I charted this for someone earlier, but let me redo this. Okay, so Ordi, we have range lows. Here is your range highs, right? And currently, if we fall back below the range, we have a demand zone here. Okay, if we fall back below the range, it's usually a short. Now this coin is pretty liquid in terms of stop loss placement, right? If we fall back below and turn into resistance, like this would be your setup. TP1 would come at mid-range. I'll go ahead and draw that really quickly. Here's your mid-range. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin falls, this coin ends up going back to mid-range, where we do not only have a demand zone, but we do have an order block within that demand zone. Okay, and then right after that, range lows, back to the highs, and you keep it simple, and you play the deviation. This would be another coin that I suggest taking on spot. If you see the order books on this on the perpetuals, you will see how illiquid it is. So it's a good spot coin, and then just play the range from there. So I'm going to try to find a nice entry for this, and I'll share it once I find it. Okay, I got 2 more coins in me, and then I gotta go. Dog's crying. API. Looks exactly like Ordi, right? Now, great example of how to play a range breakout and retest. Okay, so if you have your range lows and your highs, and you're playing it over and over again, right? Your short would have been stopped, and now you're waiting for that flip to happen. Well, here's your breakout. Here's your retest and close above. You have confirmed the flip, and then it gave you a nice 35% move. Now, if this goes back under the range, it's most likely going to be a short. I can't give a stop loss since we don't have enough detail yet, or data yet, but you have an order block here that hasn't filled. So a possible scalp can be this. Now, you typically play it back to the highs. This is a one-to-one or a 1R trade. It's not really worth it unless you're in Forex or using prop firms. Not worth it. Okay. This one is better in my opinion. Not sure we get it, but talking about ranges, you bid range lows, and if we're taking true range lows, this would be it. Stops below, back to range highs. And then if this comes back down, as I mentioned, closes below the range, right, you will short stop somewhere above here. Hasn't formed yet, but notice how order blocks give you nice reactions. Give you a nice reaction. Okay. Here's a bearish order block. Possible short attempt. As such. My charts look like candy. I'm hungry. Bonk. Got a pretty steep. I'm torn. This looks good, but also looks it's telling me to stay caution. One sec, let me. Okay, yeah, that's a short there, but where about? Yeah, that's what I figured. So this is your last. Right? So we made the highs, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? This is your last lower low. If we break above, right, and put in another higher low, this could be a good long attempt. However, on this impulse, this could be another lower high. So if this breaks out above, you're waiting for the next push down to confirm a higher low. Then let's say it's over here. This would be your setup. Okay, TP1, TP2, and then TP3 somewhere over here. But right now it's holding the uptrend. So right now it's at like the chart looks decent. Like it's not bad and it's not good. It looks decent, but I need more confirmation for this to come with more detail. Probably you could take a short here at the golden pocket, which is also an SR point. Stops very, very tight. Back down to there. It's about a 2-hour trade. Something like that. But right now, patience. Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's it for me. I gotta take the dogs out. I'll upload this within the next hour, and I'll be in chats to hopefully, say TP2 has hit on Bitcoin. All right. Thanks, everyone. Catch you guys later.